All right, so I guess when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. We're gonna have a lot of repetition this month. Um, the first seven shots we talk about belong to two guys. I guess we have a little bit of an internal debate as to whether that's a good thing or not, but it is what it is. Let's check them out. So the first three are all by future President Oscar Report. Uh, what can we say about this guy that we didn't say last month? Just take your Lifetime Achievement Award, Oscar, and call it a day. These are great. I'm wondering how many people are helping him with these shots, because these all have two toys in the shots, and I'm wondering, does he have like one person holding? I mean, I guess you could have one person do both of them, but the commitment to perfection here is really, really impressive. The fact that you got both of them right where they need to be, the camera's right where it needs to be. I can't say enough about this guy.
There's enough to do, as we all know, with the planning of finding the locations, where you're going to stay, how you're going to get there, do you need a car, where to park, all these things. Then you've got to add all of these other aspects in as well. And even if you take the toys out of the actual shots, they match. I wish I could see what was going on behind the scenes to do this. How many people were involved?
Now that we've lightning rounded our way through 10, 9, and 8, now 7, 6, and 5 all belong to a guy named Chris Dunlop, who went out to Zion National Park and did these amazing shots from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. My gosh, I'm jealous of these. Now, the fact that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was filmed here, that information is well known, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of specific information as to how to find these specific spots that Chris found. And I can only imagine, to just get out there and really try to line stuff up and try to figure out where is it. This must have been a great day for Chris.
Some people would rather go to a location like this and have a tour guide that knows exactly how to get to all the spots. And the camera was kind of right here when they were... Not me. I want to go find that on my own. Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, it's so much more rewarding when you're able to find it that way.
Not much has changed about the house. Like, the house has a porch now.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Where he's standing, that house is pretty much perfectly lined up with the ridge directly behind it and the giant mountain directly behind that. I mean, it's like you couldn't get any better on the lineup and the distance away from the house.
You could tell he went out there on a mission to find these spots. So kudos to him.
I wanted to know why it was so well preserved, so I did a bit of research, and it's a place called Grafton Ghost Town, which is apparently said to be the most photographed ghost town in the West. And the reason why they was in 1997 they created the Grafton Heritage Partnership to organise, protect, preserve and restore it. So that's why it's been rebuilt, maintained and preserved, and that's why they're in such a good quality, probably better quality than they were at the time of the movie. They're more interested in the heritage than the movie, but you get the benefit of the fact that it was what was used in the movie, and like I said, it probably looks better now than it was at the time they filmed it in the movie.
Number 4, one last little encore from Oscar Report. Still in Sardinia, but a little bit different location in Sardinia. He found this hotel from The Spy Who Loved Me. This is so good. The details. Look at how those things match up.
We already know that Oscar puts in extra credit on everything else. And look, now there's no extra credit needed with miniatures for this one. It's extra credit with people. And he still gets the extra credit. His hair, while it isn't perfect, he's not as thin as Roger Moore there. It's styled correctly, and he is wearing a black polo shirt.
Yeah, he's buying a lot.
Chef's kiss.
How much money is this guy spending on toys and clothes for these shots?
So one thing about this is not a hotel room. This was the actual hotel. It's the piano bar, and it was dressed as a room for the shooting of the movie. So if anyone was to go and visit, because this is a really exclusive, quite expensive hotel, it's about 750 euros a night for a room. There'd be no point going to the room because nothing for Bond was shot in there, because at that time they just dressed the hotel, make it a fantastic room for Bond, and off they go.
Number 3 is Rayan's number one vote. Rayan, do you want to take the floor on this one?
Yeah, Robbie is fantastic in the hobby. He's thorough. He's been in it for a long time, and this is absolutely peak for me. It's one of my favorite movies growing up, raised in Arizona, and for him to go out there and line up the exact spot where they were sitting, to me, was my favorite of the mods. So kudos, Robbie, man. You crushed it.
It makes me so happy that Robbie, Robbie to me is one of the old school like Hall of Famers in this hobby, yet he doesn't participate in the Facebook groups very often. From what I've seen, he's one of my very favorite Instagram follows, but I don't see him in the Facebook groups very often. So I'm so glad that he showed up with this so we could finally talk about this guy. This was one of the images that he promoted the movie with. So
It's wild.
even if you haven't seen the movie, you know this image.
One of the few real hero shots of the movie because of the image and the fact they used it so much to promote it. Even to this day, when you find it on streaming, it's usually that photo.
That fence there, I think, is what separates it from tribal land. So lucky to be able to get that shot, because there were signs up when you go and have a look on Google Maps saying it's tribal land and so on. But in the
So is he on the tribal side or?
No, I think it's beyond that, the other side of that fence. That's why I think they've put that up there. So he's lucky to be able to get that shot there. So there's like an estate that you're going to road, probably quite close in front of the camera, maybe 100, 200 yards. But it's, to me, it's the framing, isn't it, of the mountains, the contours in the background that you know it's the same location, because that would be a real bummer if you'd gone all that way and then a sign saying, which most people are going to respect, saying don't go onto tribal land.
Okay, guys, this is what it's all about. This is so fun. This is just so dang fun.
If you talk about fun in the hobby, this was probably the funnest photo out of the batch this month. And it was such, the lineup, the fact they got it without people walking around in the background and everything else, it's just great.
I go up to Washington State and visit with some buddies of mine every year in Washington State, and every year we go up into Vancouver and hang out and run around and do a lot of location stuff. And every year we talk about going to Hatley Castle. The thing about Hatley Castle is it's on this island and you have to take a ferry, and it requires a true time commitment to go to Hatley Castle. And so every year we bring it up and every year we say no, because it's just not a very economical use of time when we can just spend so much more time just running around Vancouver and just enjoying the city itself. But now that I see this shot, I'm just gnashing my teeth. I'm so jealous and so regretting that we've always said no about Hatley Castle. As always, there were a lot more than just 10 really good shots to choose from, so we have some honorable mentions here. Gareth Mullen. Wow, it seems like we've mentioned his name like 6 months in a row now. Always good, Gareth. Paul Slattery. Steve Dahlman, another one who we mentioned every single month. Andy George from It Happened Right Here went and got these great shots from 28 years later. Boy, he pounced on these in a hurry. Oh gosh, that movie just came out. These look really, really good. Lovash Zoltan Ivan from The Brutalist. It seems like he's become our official delegate from Budapest. Brian Witt. It seems like Brian Witt slowed down for a month or two, but he's back with a vengeance this month. Tons and tons of good stuff from him. Rita Sarosi. Okay, this shot from Robin Holiday, this is a really popular one. I see this one done quite often, but I think the only time I've ever seen it done this perfectly was when Phil Grishaev did it, which, general rule, if you ever find yourself being compared to Phil Grishaev, you're doing something right. We got Bruce Murdoch, did Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and then he did The Color Purple. And from The Color Purple, we go to Purple Rain. Too bad nobody showed up with Purple Rose of Cairo. That would have been cool. And Robert Florchak. Here we go with the drum roll. Here we go. I've been so excited to talk about this one. How could this not be number one? Nick Taylor, go on with your bad self in Sri Lanka.
If you hadn't told me, I would imagine that this is a prop that was built for the movie, as opposed to it actually being an actual shrine, which is part of, I looked this up, it's a Hantana Tea estate, and it is obviously the stone shrine that's located on the grounds, but this is not something that's easily accessible. It takes a little bit of research. You have to do a little bit of walking through, like some of, let's say, it's jungle to get to this. And some other people have been there. They were saying that they had a guide because they needed a guide because it's just hard to get to and so on. So I just thought lots of kudos to this. It's one of those I would just go there in a heartbeat just for that one shot and then fly all the way back home again.
But the thing is when you get a shot this epic, what else is there to chase?
Good job on even having it's more so like wanting to give the person an award for having the stick-to-itiveness to like even like a lot of people that go do locations don't even attempt to do stuff like that because they're thinking, I don't want to be out in 90-degree weather for 3 hours looking for a tiny little white spot on a rock that could be any number of white, you know. I totally get it. So it's like when people go to locations like this that are super specific, that have these sorts of, you can't say it was created elsewhere. Like the detail, the small detail, like the cracks or the depression, all completely undeniable. There's something much more special about something like that, in that the person who went there had to really want to go, like, get the shot. Like, forget that they found it and then they got there. It's the idea behind that they were that motivated even in the first place, for me personally.
I'd say the vast majority of the shots that end up in these top 10 videos as a result of our votes, we see that it reflected in our votes, because how many times do we talk about a shot where it's just a house on a street with an address that everybody can just Google, you know? We love a challenge. We love seeing people that rise to a challenge, you know, and yeah, Nick Taylor did it.
So we're entering September, which starts spooky season, which is kind of my favorite part of the year. So I want to put out a challenge to all you film location guys. Go to historical film locations this month and start dropping your favorite spooky season photos. I want to see some great spooky season photos coming up. September and October is all bets are off on the spooky.
Wayne is dropping the challenge. I love it. You know what else next month is, guys? It's our 1-year anniversary doing these videos.
Happy anniversary to us.
Yeah. So we'll have been doing this for a year. I know the audience still hasn't grown that much, but I don't care. I just love talking about these shots with you guys. Who cares?
We are the audience.
So yeah, that's August. We're looking forward to September. In addition to Rayan's challenge for spooky season, do we have any requests for Oscar report?
The challenge to Oscar is Moonraker when they're in space.
Yeah. Yes.